This week, a tanker was struck in the Strait of Hormuz, days after another was hit off the coast of Oman. An American naval blockade now sits at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, and the ships that normally thread this strait, around 140 a day, have thinned to 100, because a quarter of the world's seaborne oil moves through this one channel. And somehow, none of it has touched the price of the bread you'll buy tomorrow. To understand why one struck tanker matters, you have to understand what's actually on those ships. You've never held a barrel of oil. Not once in your whole life. And yet, you're touching 4 of them right now. Not gasoline. Things you'd never once call oil. I want to show you what a refinery actually does, because it isn't what I thought. And once you see it, you can't unsee it in your own kitchen. We all picture the same thing, don't we? Oil goes in, gasoline comes out. That's not what happens. A refinery doesn't convert a barrel. It takes one apart. Crude oil is a mixture. Heat it, and the pieces come loose at different temperatures. The light ones climb, the heavy ones sink, and every layer is something different. So one barrel doesn't become one thing. It becomes all of them at the same time. And that one fact is the whole story. And here's the shape of what's coming. 3 things run your day: 1 you burn, 1 you never notice, and 1 you actually eat, and you never watch a single one arrive. This barrel is where it starts. But there's a catch hidden inside it. The reason something you've never touched reaches all the way to your breakfast. A barrel is 42 gallons. That's it. That's the whole thing. But when a refinery rips that barrel apart, you get 44.6 gallons back. More came out than went in. Not more energy. More volume. As heavy crude breaks into lighter pieces, the matter expands. Nearly half of that expanded volume, 19 gallons, becomes the gasoline sloshing under your car seat. 12 gallons become the heavy-duty diesel powering the freight trucks in the lane next to you. 4 gallons become high-altitude jet fuel for the airliner cutting through the clouds overhead. That accounts for 80% of the volume, but it is the microscopic fractions left over, the fractions under 5% that construct your physical surrounding. The heaviest dregs at the bottom get baked into steel beams and structural aluminium, and the lightest gases off the top, the black sludge, that's the asphalt baking under your tires on the highway right now. The slick oils? Inside every engine, bearing, and power turbine turning on Earth. It ends up inside steel and aluminium. And the absolute tiniest sliver of all, less than a shot glass per barrel, the stuff that quietly becomes plastic, is the wax coating your hot coffee cup, sealing the cheese in your fridge, and sitting in your kids' crayons. Less than a single gallon per barrel. That sliver is on your skin before you've even left the house. The road you drove on to get to the gas station. That's the trap. Every layer of the crude is hard-coded into modern life. Every engine, every bearing, every turbine. You can't just throw away the parts you don't think you need. Less than 1/100th of a gallon. And here's that catch I promised, the mechanism that runs the entire global market. Now the mechanism, nobody, anywhere, orders a barrel of only gasoline. A refinery can lean the balance one way. It cannot break it. Chemistry sets the range. And inside that range, everything arrives together, which means every last drop has to find somebody to buy it. If the world wants one piece and not the other, the barrel still makes both. 44.6 gallons, every one of them from the same barrel. More volume than went in. Nothing can be made alone, so nothing can be priced alone. The jet fuel in a plane you'll never board. The asphalt in a road you'll never drive. Same barrel as the fuel in your tank, tied together. Whether anyone likes it or not, pull back for a second, because the scale is easy to miss. Moving people and things is about 29% of all the energy this country burns, and about 89% of that is petroleum. Gasoline, 52%, diesel, 22%, jet fuel, 13%. 3 slices of the same barrel doing 3 completely different jobs. You pay for one of them at a pump, and you feel it. Every time, you pay for the other two inside the price of everything else, and you never feel a thing. So think about your morning again. The road under the tires, the oil in the engine, the wax on the cup, the fuel in the tank. 4 doors, 1 barrel, before you've even had breakfast. You'll never touch a barrel of oil. That was never how it was going to reach you. It reached you as a road, a wrapper, a runway, and a ride. When those ships stop moving, the first thing that breaks is diesel. But fuel isn't just built into the objects you buy. It's the invisible delivery engine that sets the price of everything you touch. Look at the 2 fuels running your day. You already know the one with the sign, gasoline. The biggest single slice of the fuel we burn to move, 52%. But the other fuel has no sign, no pump, no bill, and it moves more of your life than the one you watch. Let me show you. Distillate fuel. Mostly diesel, about 22%. Less than half of gasoline's share, which makes it sound like the smaller story. It isn't. Not even close. Because it isn't doing the same job. Diesel doesn't move people. Diesel moves things. Trucks, trains, boats and barges, buses, farm equipment, construction machinery, and the generators that keep the lights on when the power dies. One fuel holding up the entire physical world. Here's the size of it, and it's bigger than you're expecting. Every single day, this country's transport sector burns about 123 million gallons of diesel just to move things around. Now here's where it reaches you. Almost every physical object in your home arrived on a diesel engine. It was grown or made somewhere else. Then it moved, often 3 or 4 times, and every one of those moves burned fuel that you never bought. So that cost doesn't show up at a pump. It shows up inside the price of the thing. You're paying for diesel. You're just not paying for it at a gas station. And because it's buried in there, it behaves completely differently. A gasoline change hits you the same week. You watch it happen on the sign. A diesel change has to travel through a shipment, a warehouse, a shelf. So it turns up weeks later, quietly, in a dozen unrelated prices all at once. Which is exactly why almost nobody ever connects the two. And it reaches past the shelf. Farm equipment runs on it. So your food is planted and harvested on diesel before it ever moves on diesel. Construction machinery runs on it. Every building you've ever walked into started with it. And when the power fails, the generators keeping a hospital alive run on it too. One fuel. Sitting underneath food, shelter, and the lights of last resort. So look at those 2 fuels again. Gasoline has the sign, you budget for it. You complain about it, you notice it. Diesel has nothing. You never chose it. And you can't opt out of it. It's in the chair you're sitting on and the food in your kitchen, because both of them had to travel to reach you. Gasoline moves you. Diesel moves your world. One of them you watch, and the other one just quietly sets the price of everything. The same strait carries the gas that grows half your food, but underneath the fuel that moves the world sits the invisible chemical foundation that feeds it. Some of the gas piped into your town never gets burned for heat at all. And I don't mean that as a metaphor. The molecules end up in your food. We think of gas as a thing you set on fire. Heat, hot water, electricity. But it has a second job. And this one doesn't involve fire at all. To see it, you have to stop thinking of gas as a fuel and start seeing it as a supply of one thing: hydrogen. Natural gas is mostly methane. Hydrogen locked to carbon, break that bond, and you've got your hydrogen. The other ingredient is free. Most of the air around you is nitrogen, and plants, surrounded by it every second, can't use a single bit. It drifts straight past them, locked in a shape they can't break, so we break it for them. Hydrogen from the gas, nitrogen from the air, bonded into one molecule, ammonia. And here's the part nobody tells you. 88% of the ammonia this country makes goes straight to fertilizer. It isn't a chemical that happens to help farming. Farming is what it's for. Gas isn't just powering your food. It is your food. Now here's how you know that's not a metaphor either. American ammonia came from 18 companies, 38 plants, 19 states, but it isn't spread evenly across them. Not even a little. About 57% of that capacity sits in just 3 states: Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, and not because that's where the farms are, because that's where the natural gas is. They didn't build next to their customers. They built next to their raw material. That's what a feedstock looks like, drawn on a map which sets up the chain. If the main ingredient of a thing is gas, then the price of that thing has to follow gas. And it does. Ammonia prices generally follow natural gas prices. Ammonia sets the price of nitrogen fertilizer. Fertilizer is a cost of growing a crop, and that crop is the input for almost everything on your table. And not just the bread and the cereal, the grain becomes feed. So it reaches the milk, the eggs, and the meat, and still, nobody ever feels this as connected. There's a reason for that. It moves at the speed of a growing season. Fertilizer is bought before it's spread before the crop grows, harvested before it ships. By the time it reaches a shelf, months have gone by, and whatever started it is long out of sight. A slow chain is still a chain. It's just one that nobody's watching. And this one is close to home. Net imports were only about 5%. This isn't happening somewhere far away. It's built into the ground under 3 states. So think about the last meal you ate. Something in it was grown using nitrogen pulled out of the air, pulled down with hydrogen that came out of a gas pipe, in a plant sitting on a gas field, hundreds of miles from the nearest farm. The cheapest ingredient in your food is the one that never appears on the label. You can't taste it. You've never bought it, and it's in almost everything you eat. So here's the part I can't stop thinking about. One barrel gave you the fuel you watch at the pump, and the diesel you never notice, buried in the price of everything you own. And a second thing, a gas you'd never call food, grew the meal on your plate. 2 pipes out of the same ground, running your entire day before you've even had breakfast. And here's my question for you. Now that you can't unsee it, is that a comfort or a trap? Tell me in the comments. This is Chain Reaction Explained. It always starts with one thing.